Shalom, Shalom, Akim. I'm giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors the elders and apostles of GMS who teach and Roel. And salutation to all the Akim in all four corners of earth who's pushing this truth and sincerity. Shalom, Akim. You don't want to get into this, you got these protests that are going down. Well, you have a bunch of things that's going down right now in Babylon. You know, you have a bunch of distractions. You're always going to have distractions, you know. Esau knows these people live off of fear, and so he plays upon their fear, in different ways, and he also runs the TV and your entertainment system so he can play whatever he feels like playing, and most of the time he puts on things that are fearful to the people, and at the same time, you know, like I said, there's a lot going on in Babylon right now, and they're being exposed. Things that Esau is doing is being exposed. We've seen these things before. We know his tricks right now. It's just the sheep. It's just the way he does it, the different ways he does it. And the sheeple, they're just all, willy nilly. Whatever the government says and does, then they're gonna roll with it. Right now there are a lot of Americans that are hurting, and they need money. So Esau has these crisis actors that have been set up since going back to the shootings and stuff, man, that happened, man, the school shootings. You go back then, and this is just the ones we're speaking about that are up to date. I mean, that we know about, we've been doing research on, and even throwing it in our face because, like I said, you can go back farther because he's a liar. He is a liar. He lies about everything. He can't tell the truth. The truth is not in him. But yeah, so right now it says no kings. This is on nokings.org. Like I said, they're setting up protests as well as this weekend is supposed to be. I think they said it's Donald Trump's birthday, and he's supposed to have a super military presence in Washington this weekend for his birthday, as well as they're going to be. I want to say it was this weekend. They said they're going to be, commemorating America being 250 years old. So we have a bunch of different things that are happening. And one thing about this devil, Esau, he doesn't let a crisis go away. Anytime, the news is there, things are rolling, he's going to take full advantage of it, man. And so while the people are broke and need money, he's giving them damn near like 2,000, 20,000, I think I've seen somewhere, to go ahead and be actor in this destroying the cities right now. What we got going on right now. Remember when George Floyd got whooped on a few years ago? The same thing happened. You have these agent provocateurs that come in. They're masked up. They have gas masks on. They're trained. They're trained, and they're mostly young Edomites. And you have some Edomite women that partake in it too. And they captured one of the Edomite girls one time on one of these George Floyd events a few years back. And they captured her and they took the mask off of her and everything and started questioning her. And, basically, this is some young dopehead white girl from like Ohio or some shit she said, because once they showed her face, the world seen her, everybody in America seen her face, and all her friends from her little town start chiming in on the net and putting it up, and they had the whole backdrop on her. One thing about the time we're right now, if you all you gotta do is have your face out there, and they could just backtrack everything and have everything, the whole information out there, And that's what they did, and they exposed her, man. And like I said, she's getting paid. These people are getting paid, man. And so they defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. So, these people, they it's a joke. Everything's a joke. Everything's well, I shouldn't say a joke. I should say a play being played out. But these guys, like I said, they're rolling up onto these areas and these scenes. They're breaking up bricks. They already have planned trucks and everything They're staying in some hotels, because they're coming from all over. They're not just coming from that city that they're attacking. That's another thing that people have to understand. These are planned hits. This was orchestrated. This was nothing by coincidence. And that's the time we're in right now. And these people, they're lining up to get that paycheck to destroy different areas and stuff, and they get paid for it. This is second address 15 and 15. For the sword of the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be a sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, man. And they're not regarding authority anymore. This, and once again, right now, the times we're in, because they're saying this march in Chicago is supposed to be fake, but at the same time, we don't know what's what. We're just here watching because once again, we do have the information and we do have the breakdowns to go and to look into these things. We know how Esau thinks and how he moves, because once again, he's paying these actors, he's paying these people. I'm watching CNN, I'm watching the news today, and they're seeing different images of the protesters and stuff, and police are firing at them with something, but the people are still coming up, walking up on them. So what are they doing? And not only that, the police are like, most of the time, in a riot situation, anything, when they get to moving, they swinging and everything. I'm not seeing none of that. I'm seeing them being backed up into corners by the protesters, by one or two people, So I don't know. It's something's going on. Something's going on, definitely. It's 2 Corinthians 2:11. At least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And he uses his media as one of his top devices, man. And like I'm telling you, the news had showed from 4 different cities, 4 different groups of officers, busting these different bean bags or gas pellets, and the people were just standing there like they would just take it like it was nothing. They didn't have no shield, no cover on, or nothing. So, and then the police were back up, and then they're falling back into the corner. So, is this all a act? Is this all a act? That's what I'm thinking. It's all a act. But then, we do see the stores on fire. We do see, the sidewalks being broken up and everything. But once again, this is all by design because we know how Esau rolls. It's something called order out of chaos. And order out of chaos comes when the chaos is going amok and just going nuts. Who you going to call? You call your daddy Esau. That's how he comes. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, this was nothing by coincidence. This is something that they set up, they designed. They knew the timeline. And that's another thing. Esau runs off of a timeline, man. He knows, but he has but a short time. So his things, his crafty counsel, they have to work within a certain timeline of guide, of the guidelines they have, because the Lord is coming back, and these elites, they know the scriptures, man. They know the scriptures, and they know the times we're in too. The Lord gave them a certain amount of time, man, and their time is about to be up. Micah 2:2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So to oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, But once again, this is a violent, and this is how he out of order comes chaos. Out of chaos comes order, And so this is what he's all about. The violence is in these cities, man, And once again, when you see the paid actors and see how much they get paid, and it's on Craigslist, the same thing going back to the Sandy Hook thing. We need paid actors to be around here. And then they kept slipping up by interviewing the same girl from the Sandy Hook to the movie shooting to the other town shooting to the Ohio town shooting. You can go on and on, man. The devil was slipping up. He was falling. He didn't know how many more lies to push out, man. This is Ephesians 5:14. Wherefore he saith, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and the Mashiach shall give thee light. See then that thou ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil, man. These days are evil that we're in right now. You know, this is why we see wickedness growing more and more, man. You know, the scriptures speak about how wickedness is gonna exceedingly pollute the earth, man. You know, and reach up to heaven. You know, roughly paraphrasing. But these are the times we're in, man. You know, we need the Lord to come back, man. You know, because this devil, like I say, he runs the food, he runs your entertainment, he runs your TV, your music, everything, man. You know, so it's no escaping what he's got out there right now, unless the Lord has you, man. You know, this is Psalm 37:1, a psalm of David. Freak not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and withered as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed, man. You know, and that's the name of the game, man. We have to trust in the Lord and trust in the things that are in these scriptures, man. You know, because this devil, you're not going to win against him, man. You know, he's bringing out machines. You know, he's poisoned your water, your food. You're not even eating the right foods. Your foods are eating you. You know, everything's fucked up here, man. You know, so this is why we have to continue in these scriptures and continuously pray for the downfall of this devil, man, and thank the Lord for giving us the vision. You know, giving us these scriptures to have that vision. With that being said, it's edifying. Shalom, Maki.